My sisters and brothers, I greet you all with the love and peace of the Lord. I invite you to meditate together with me on the holy word of God of 28th July 2022. The thrust, shift of horizons and shift between. The indicative of our reflection. Life is a constant process of various choices. But what is the criterion for this choice making? Mere knowledge or wisdom, unbridled freedom, or a humble surrender? This makes the difference. In life, very many times, wrong choices and decisions are made. Despite all the intelligence and knowledge, despite all technology and progress, still many are confused or mistaken in their choices. Then, is there any norm or norms that can help us in this process of discernment and decision? Once again, it is wisdom that enables us to discern between two alternatives and choose the better option. It is like sifting between the good and bad fish after a catch and sorting them out separately. The good ones to retain in the containers and the bad ones to be thrown away. It is also like differentiating by a master of a house between the old and new things out of his treasure. The same wisdom makes us distinguish between docility and obstinacy, between an arrogant self autonomy and humble surrender. Subsequently, wisdom also makes us docile and surrendered to God. God conveys this message powerfully through a very practical and impressive metaphor of clay and potter. First of all, some may tend to look negatively at the imagery of clay and potter. Some are obsessed with a wrong concept of freedom. They may argue that the clay is losing its self dignity, the right to self affirmation and self making. The potter is taking away its freedom for self decision and imposes his own will on the clay. This is a wrong way of thinking. True freedom is not a license for doing anything, especially the wrong. True freedom is always positive and constructive. It never intends or does harm either to the self or others. In the name of being free, one cannot become self ruinous or destructive toward others. The clay in the hands of a potter is totally open to the touch and the work of the potter because it knows that the potter is best at it and he wishes and does the best with it. There is no subjugation or manipulation of the clay on the part of the potter. It is all for the proper shape and use of the clay as a pot. Saint Alphonse, the first woman saint of Indian origin, was such a wise person who had this wisdom. Thus, in docility and surrender, she consecrated her entire life to the Lord. Like the clay in the potter's hand, she never resisted God's will and action. That is why she could be so joyful even amidst her daily martyrdom of suffering. And now, the imperative for our life: God can work more and more easily with us if only we restrain our adamant tendencies to resist His actions. The more we are docile and submissive, the better will be the shape and use of our life.